My boss had never called me into his office without any warning, and he had never looked frightened of anything in all the years I had worked there. But that morning, when he silently locked the door behind me and carefully pressed a sealed envelope into my shaking hand, his eyes were wide and burning with a panic I had never seen before. He leaned in so close I could feel his uneven breathing against my cheek and whispered, "Do not open this here. Go home immediately. Pack a small bag. Take your daughter now. You have 24 hours." Then he turned away from me completely, like he couldn't force another fragile word without breaking right there in front of me in that silent and heavy room. I stood utterly frozen, still gripping the envelope, wondering if this was some twisted prank or an elaborate test meant to push me past the limits of sanity. But the way his voice trembled told me this wasn't imagined at all. This was real. Something had already happened, something dangerous enough to place my life directly in harm's path without me even knowing it. And the man I once believed barely noticed my presence was suddenly trying to pull me away from a threat I still couldn't comprehend. Before I tell you what was hidden inside that sealed white envelope, make sure you subscribe to the channel and comment where you're watching this story from today. Because once you hear what unfolded immediately next, you may start questioning the very people you always believed you could trust without any hesitation. My name is Natalie Reyes, and I'm a 29-year-old single mother living in a tiny apartment on the south side of Chicago with my daughter Ava beside me. She's 7 years old, bright and wildly imaginative, always sketching small pictures of me and her holding hands in colors that warm my heart. She is the center of my entire world. The reason I wake up each morning and fight through every storm life chooses to send crashing down on us. Life hasn't been easy for us in years. Ava's father walked out when she was still in soft baby diapers, claiming he wasn't ready to be a parent. Since then, I've balanced 3 relentless jobs, countless late-night shifts, and endless moments of pure exhaustion just to keep a roof steady over our heads through every hardship. Things finally began feeling stable again when I secured a full-time role as an administrative coordinator at Stratton Financial Group, a private firm settled deep in downtown Chicago. The work was demanding, the expectations incredibly high. And my boss, Rowan Blake, was well known for his harsh standards and cold, distant demeanor. But I never minded the weight of pressure. It paid well enough to send Ava to a good school and let me hold on to the pride of achieving everything through my own effort, not charity, luck. That morning started just like any other day. I woke before sunrise, braided Ava's soft hair, and tucked a little note inside her lunchbox the same way I did every single morning. She asked if we could stop for pancakes over the coming weekend, and I promised her with a smile that we definitely would go. I had no idea that within only hours everything in our lives would shift beyond anything I could have imagined. The train ride to work was crowded tight. People were half awake, scrolling endlessly on phones, sipping hot morning coffee, mumbling quietly about meetings waiting for them downtown. I remember watching the towering skyline rise as we approached the station and thinking to myself, maybe life is finally becoming normal and steady. Maybe our endless struggles are finally behind us. That peaceful thought would be the last calm moment I'd experience for a very long time. When I arrived at the office, something felt wrong the instant I stepped through the doors. It was strangely quiet, unnaturally still, almost hollow. Normally, the reception area buzzed with greetings and constant ringing phone calls. But that day, everyone spoke in hushed whispers. I even noticed 2 men in dark suits I had never encountered before standing silently near the executive elevator doors. Watching everyone who passed, I tried ignoring them and walked toward my desk, like nothing strange was happening around me. At 9:14 a.m. exactly, my office phone rang. It was my boss's assistant, her voice strained. "Natalie, Mr. Blake wants to see you immediately." Before I could ask even a single question, the call disconnected abruptly. My chest tightened sharply as I walked down the long, dim hallway toward his large office. I told myself calmly it was probably about quarterly reports or maybe a review. For audits, I had no reason to fear my boss. I'd done nothing wrong or suspicious lately. But when I stepped inside his silent office, everything changed instantly again. Mr. Blake was standing by the tall window, his back toward me, shoulders stiff and tense. He didn't greet me. He didn't turn around or acknowledge me at first, not even slightly. Finally, he slowly faced me, and I saw it clearly in him, pure, unmistakable fear, trembling. His voice came out quiet, low, and urgent. "Close the door, Natalie." He reached into his desk drawer quickly, pulled out a sealed envelope, and pushed it toward me across the desk. My name was written boldly in dark ink. He looked straight into my eyes and whispered, "Whatever happens today, do not panic, but you must follow everything I tell you without hesitation." In that single moment, I understood this wasn't about work anymore, but something far more dangerous. This was about survival. I held the envelope tightly in trembling hands as I stepped outside the building into daylight, each breath shallow inside my tightening, frightened chest. The cold air hit my face sharply, though it did nothing to clear the heavy fog of confusion, filling me. My bossa, man known for showing zero emotion, looked terrified while handing the envelope to me. His urgent words echoed in my mind repeatedly. "Go home. Pack quickly. You have 24 hours." I didn't know whether I was being hunted or if someone dangerous was targeting my daughter. That single thought alone made me clutch the envelope, even tighter than before as I hurried through the moving crowd. Every stranger's quick glance felt like a threat. I locked the apartment door behind us firmly and double-checked everything twice. Then I stood still in the living room, clutching the sealed envelope. My heartbeat thundered wildly as I slid my finger under the seal and carefully tore it. Inside there were 3 items that chilled me. A one-way plane ticket to Durango, Colorado, departing at 7:45 p.m. tonight. A prepaid phone with a single number saved under the label. Call only this on screen. And a photograph of my daughter, little Ava, standing outside her school, taken earlier that morning. My blood ran cold. I was at work when that picture was taken without my knowledge. Someone had been watching her closely without mercy. There was also a short handwritten note inside. The ink looked smeared as if written hurriedly. "They know what you saw. Do everything exactly. If you remain here in Chicago after midnight, they will come for you and little Ava. Trust no one anymore. You are being watched." The phone slipped unexpectedly from my shaking hand and landed on the couch with a thud. My legs felt weak. What had I seen? I couldn't recall anything unusual or threatening recently. I had been reviewing financial transfer documents only. Numbers, spreadsheets, client accounts. Nothing seemed dangerous enough. But if Ava was connected to this threat, I couldn't waste time. I rushed to school, head down, eyes scanning each passing car carefully. When I arrived, Ava was sitting happily inside her class, coloring drawings with her little friends. Just seeing her face eased my panic briefly, but only for moments. I signed her out early and told her we were taking a special surprise trip. Today she clapped joyfully and asked if it meant getting ice cream somewhere. I forced a smile and told her she would learn soon enough. On our way home, I noticed a black SUV lingering behind us. It stayed several cars back, but every time I changed lanes carefully, it followed without hesitation. My heartbeat quickened instantly. I didn't want Ava to panic, so I said nothing to her. But I took a different exit and circled back onto another road. The same SUV appeared again behind us closely. My throat tightened painfully. This was absolutely real. Whatever this was now, we were being followed. When we reached home, I moved quickly inside. I told little Ava to pack her favorite clothes and stuffed animals. She ran to her room, excited and unaware that every item placed in her suitcase meant we were racing time. I packed essentials, quietly documents, cash, the envelope. The prepaid phone kept catching my attention repeatedly, like it pulsed urgency. I turned it on and immediately a message flashed urgently on screen. Do not call until you reach the airport. Just then, my regular phone buzzed loudly again. It was an unknown number calling me suddenly. I hesitated before answering. A calm, female voice said, "They are outside your building right now. Do not open curtains. Leave through the back entrance. Take only one bag each. Say nothing to anyone at all. If you want your daughter safe, follow instructions." Before I could ask anything about her identity, the call abruptly ended. I stood completely still, fear slamming into me so sharply. I had to grip the counter. This wasn't paranoia anymore. This was a targeted threat, watching us closely. I turned calmly toward Ava and whispered softly, "Sweetheart, we are going out the back door, okay? It's a surprise adventure just for us." She giggled, thinking it was some fun game. I guided her quietly down the narrow stairwell. Every creak of steps made my heart jump. The building's back exit opened into a long alleyway leading toward a side street where I had earlier parked our car away from sight. I held Ava's hand tight as we hurried toward the waiting car. As I buckled her seatbelt inside gently, I heard something chilling, a man's voice above us speaking into radio. It was faint, but I made out words. "Target has moved now. They have the child." Panic surged sharply through me, but also sparked a fierce determination inside. If my boss risked everything to warn me, then this danger was real and unavoidable now. I couldn't afford doubt. I got into the driver's seat quickly, started the engine, and pulled out as calmly as possible despite my fear. I didn't know what waited for us in Colorado or who sent that woman's urgent call. All I truly knew was this horrifying truth. Someone was trying desperately to protect us now, and someone else was actively hunting us down. And the reason behind all of this chaos was buried somewhere deep in those financial documents. Something so big and so dangerous that my ordinary life had just become a full-fledged race for survival itself now. The wheels of the plane lifted slowly from Earth as my heartbeat thudded through every trembling breath, leaving no path backward. And for the first time in long hours, I exhaled carefully again, not out of comfort, but because turning back was no longer possible. I watched Chicago shrinking far beneath rising clouds while holding Ava's hand, feeling her small weight rest gently against me until she finally drifted into soft, peaceful sleep, completely unaware that everything we knew had shifted and our entire life had already been uprooted. As the engines roared, I replayed the moment over and over again, my boss's fearful eyes. The photo of Ava taken without my consent and the unknown voice warning me the building was already surrounded tightly. Whatever this threat was, it lived. Far beyond my simple office job, bigger than hidden fraud or corporate wrongdoing rumors. It was personal danger, and it was deadly. When we finally landed in cold, quiet Durango, the crisp mountain air felt sharp against skin. The small airport sat between towering snowy mountains, and people moved slowly, sipping coffee, speaking calmly as if danger never existed anywhere near them. The peaceful silence felt too calm and unsettling compared to what horrors we had just escaped. I pulled out cautiously the prepaid phone Rowan had pressed into my hand hours earlier, shaken. I powered it on, dialed the single number, saved inside its memory. The phone rang once before a stern voice ordered me immediately. "Leave the airport right now. A black pickup truck will stop at curbside. Get inside without speaking until I tell you." Then the line ended. I grabbed our bags and rushed Ava. Outside, my pulse pounding wildly. Within only a moment, a black pickup approached, rolling to the curb. The driver, a rugged man in late 40s with sharp, unwavering eyes and a worn face, lowered the window slightly. "Natalie Reyes," he said, his voice firm, steady, yet not entirely unkind. "Get in the truck." Every instinct screamed, protect Ava from everything. I studied his face, saw no hidden malice, no sunglasses concealing truth, just steady. Controlled focus, alert but not predatory, more like a guardian. I made my choice. I buckled Ava carefully into the back seat and climbed into front. "My name is Daniel. Daniel Kraus," he continued once we were driving. "Your boss, Rowan Blake, worked beside me once in a federal task force. 3 years in secrecy, we uncovered a network using private financial firms like Stratton Financial Group to launder syndicate money for ruthless global criminals. When Rowan discovered they operated inside his firm, he tried to expose the network. Entirely alone. They found out fast and murdered his wife. They have chased him relentlessly ever since then." I stared in shock, my breath nearly stopping. "Why me? I'm nobody. I'm just an employee. I don't know anything." Look directly forward, then straight into me. "That's where you're wrong. 2 days ago, you processed a silent transfer from a dormant account. When you flagged irregularities, you unknowingly uncovered their hidden multi-million pipeline account. They saw your access. They know you looked. That makes you expendable." My stomach twisted painfully as I remembered clearly that sudden suspicious. Transferred $20 million moved from an overseas source into an account untouched for nearly 7 years. I asked for clarification and was told simply to approve and stay completely silent afterward. I never imagined that one harmless seeming click would destroy my life. Fear and anger battled tumultuously inside my chest. "So they're doing all of this because they think I know something." Daniel shook his head firm, certain, unyielding. "Not think absolutely certain. They believe you witnessed enough details to expose their entire criminal operation. They eliminate every risk." The truck left town climbing toward the mountains, where thick pine trees surrounded the winding road. Daniel continued speaking calmly, even as tension thickened. "Rowan knew constantly that you were watched. If he acted openly, they would kill you, and they would kill your little daughter, too. So he sacrificed himself to buy you time and divert their attention." His words hit hard, shaking my entire chest. My distant, intimidating boss, the man I thought barely knew I existed, had risked everything silently just to protect me. The truck slowed, finally pulling beside a cabin hidden deep in trees. Smoke rose quietly upward from a small chimney. The place looked untouched, a remote safe house far from any danger. Daniel cut the engine, turning toward me seriously. "You have to. Choices: disappear with your daughter, enter federal protection, forever change names. Change everything, never return to life you once recognized daily. Or stand with us, fight to expose them, ensure they hurt no other family ever again. But understand the cost. You may never return to your old world." I glanced at Ava through the rearview mirror, seeing her wide eyes hugging her small backpack, unaware this moment determined our entire future path. I turned back slowly, my heart pounding violently, filled with fear, yet also filled with purpose. For the first time since the nightmare started, I felt the truth settling deep inside me. I had not been chosen randomly at all. I had been deliberately placed into the position capable of collapsing everything, their entire hidden operation. "I'm not running anymore," I said without hesitation. "I'm not leaving families to suffer like us, to endure what we're being forced through now. Tell me exactly everything. Tell me what steps I need to take." Daniel nodded once slowly, like he had waited for that specific answer from the very beginning. And with that moment, everything inside shifted instantly. I was no longer just a frightened target desperately running for safety. I was a mother silently preparing for war. Daniel guided me inside, leading toward the cabin, and as the door clicked shut behind us, I felt the tension thickening through the air. This wasn't a shelter or a simple safe house. This was a headquarters, a command center disguised. Maps covered every wall, red markers circling cities, marking routes and hotspots. A wide, heavy table was drowning in files, stacked documents, and flash drives arranged in messy layers. Military-grade encryption equipment was wired to a laptop placed at center. Everything surrounding the room told me one truth. This wasn't hiding anymore. It was a launch point. Daniel motioned toward me, gesturing to a chair. "Sit down right now. There's something important here. Something you must see." I sank into place, gripping tightly the table as he inserted calmly a flash drive inside the waiting computer slot. A video appeared, slowly loading onto the screen. My breath froze instantly when I saw him. It was Rowan Blake, my bruised, frightened boss, his hair disheveled badly, a dark bruise spreading down one battered cheek. He sat in shadows, talking straight into camera, voice tight with urgency. "If you're watching this, Natalie, then they've found me already, not you. Good, that means Daniel reached you in time." He paused, swallowing painfully, eyes flickering with strain. "I never told you why I truly hired you, not for resume, but for your integrity. I needed someone brave, someone who believed still in doing the right, even when nobody watched. 2 days ago, when you questioned the transfer, you confirmed my suspicion. You saw that account, you saw the details, and now they'll stop at nothing. To silence your voice forever now." My pulse hammered violently as fear tightened inside. What name was there? I'd only seen numbers. Never any attached name. Rowan must have sensed my confusion through screen because he continued quickly. "The account belongs entirely to Senator Victor Harland." The instant he said that powerful, familiar name, everything inside my mind clicked violently into place. Harland wasn't just political, he was influential, nationally, appearing constantly on television, pushing for economic reforms, gathering secretive donor lists. Suddenly, his vague policies and guarded private dealings made horrifying complete sense. Rowan's voice softened darkly. "Harland has been laundering billions through private firms, funding vast criminal networks. He is behind everything, deaths, threats, disappearances, all leading directly to him. And now, Natalie, you hold evidence capable of destroying his entire empire." I stared, utterly stunned, realizing this wasn't fraud, but treason, conspiracy, corruption, dangerous enough to destabilize governments, nations, countless lives. On the flickering screen, Rowan exhaled shakily once. "The files you processed are incredibly critical now. You unknowingly activated the final link in chain. Daniel carries the rest. Together, both of you can connect every transaction, every hidden shell company, every offshore secret account. Once the data releases, Harland will lose everything with nowhere left hiding." Suddenly, a loud crash echoed beside the cabin, followed by another immediately. Daniel grabbed a gun, motioning sharply to get down low immediately now. Windows rattled violently hard as silhouettes moved outside, shifting between tall tree line. Ava screamed in terror from her corner spot where she had been sitting, hugging her toy. I sprinted toward her, shielding her tiny body, pressing her close tightly. Daniel shouted behind me, "They've found us now. Stay low, stay down." Gunshots shattered. Silence repeatedly, bursting through mountain air. The cabin shuddered strongly as bullets struck walls, piercing wood and metal. Daniel fired back swiftly through reinforced cabin windows. 2 attackers dropped instantly, but more kept advancing, shapes swarming like shadows. I saw the glint of tactical helmets approaching, night vision, goggles glowing faintly. These weren't simple criminals. They were trained mercenaries, professionals hired for killing. A violent crash sounded as back door broke, kicked inward with force. Daniel spun toward noise, shouting over the chaos, "Go to the cellar, do it right now." He fired repeatedly, covering as I grabbed Ava, lifting her trembling body, running for the trapdoor hidden beneath the floor. I hesitated, one heartbeat, unwilling to leave Daniel, but he yelled again, "Natalie, go right now. I'll hold them here." With shaking, frantic hands, I opened the trapdoor, climbed down the ladder into the small bunker. It was cold, cramped, dark, but heavily secure. I held Ava tightly as she buried herself crying into my shoulder. Above us, footsteps, thundered Daniel's voice. barking commands followed by more gunfire. Then sudden hard silence, the kind that suffocates. Seconds stretched to hours as fear crawled deeper. A violent explosion followed, shaking the hidden bunker, dust raining from ceiling. Ava whimpered in terror, gripping my arm tightly. Then the phone rang, the emergency line inside, its shrill tone echoing. I answered, trembling, slowly raising it to ear. A steady, familiar voice spoke calmly through static. It was Rowan speaking. "You did well, Natalie," he whispered, strained alive. Asterisk, but this is only the beginning, he warned. They came here tonight because they now know how dangerously close we are to exposing everything. Everything you need rests inside this hidden bunker. Every final critical piece now lies in your hands, waiting for action. My heart pounded violently. The man I believed gone forever was alive and still fiercely fighting. Rowan spoke again, urgently, stronger this time. "Somehow. You have 2 hours before they regroup completely. You must make choice, hide forever in shadows, or step into light and bring this down." As I held Ava in that silent darkness with the world collapsing above our trembling heads, I finally truly understood. I was no longer running terrified from danger. I was running directly toward truth and justice, and I would not stop until every person behind this vast conspiracy was dragged into light, even if it cost me everything I had. The bunker stayed silent, except for the generator humming low in background and the faint pounding of my fearful heartbeat. Rowan's voice echoed endlessly, circling through my mind as I held Ava pressed tightly against me. 2 hours, that was the exact time limit before they would return. 2 hours to decide, disappear into fearful shadows, or rise up powerfully and expose these men who destroyed countless lives. I stood and slowly walked deeper into bunker toward a long desk lined with labeled files, USB drives, documents sealed with bold government insignias. Every piece of evidence was carefully organized, meticulously linking Senator Victor Harland and dozens of officials to massive offshore accounts, dangerous criminal organizations worldwide, and covert lethal operations that ended in deaths of innocent, countless people. Some victims were whistleblowers, others were family members killed simply for proximity being too close. Truth. Daniel appeared above me, standing at the ladder, blood dark on sleeve, but still standing strong. His voice was low, steady, despite the chaos as he climbed down. "They pulled back now. They think explosion killed all of us instantly. We have a window, but not a large one, so act fast." I looked at Daniel and spoke the words already burning inside me. "I'm not running anymore. This ends right now." Daniel nodded once knowingly, as if anticipating this long before I spoke. He placed secure laptop on desk in front of me, connecting quickly the final encrypted drive holding Rowan's master file. As the system powered, an alert flashed bright across the glowing screen. "Press enter to begin full global data release." This wasn't simple uploading, it was chain reaction, triggering mirrored transmissions. Worldwide to news outlets, globally to federal secure databases and international justice courts. Once initiated, nothing could stop it from erupting. Names, bank transactions, recordings, every buried secret exposed to entire watching world. With Ava beside me, watching silently with trust, I pressed the key. Instantly, status bars filled one by one rapidly. FBI connected, secure channel. Interpol connected, global relay. Reuters, CNN, BBC connected. Truth, long buried deep, was now racing outward across world like fire, igniting an unstoppable reckoning. As upload completed fully, tears rose in me, not from fear anymore, but powerful, overwhelming release. The monster hiding behind wealth, power, influence collapsed, unable to hide now. Every crime, every transaction finally had real names tied openly. To them, suddenly, the emergency phone rang sharply beside us. I answered, hearing Rowan's voice, faint, weaker now, but filled with peace, a tone I'd never heard in him before. "You've done it, Natalie. You ended what I never could complete alone," he said, voice trembling. I asked where he was, but silence lingered. before he finally replied, "My time is over, but yours is beginning. The world knows truth because of your courage. Protect your daughter, always live your life freely, and remember this always. You were chosen not for what you knew, but for who you knew. I would knew with who you knew. My are inside your soul." Then the line died, leaving only quiet static. Hours later, news erupted, flashing across every screen. Federal agents arrested officials, high-ranking corrupted leaders. Senator Harlan was detained, caught trying to flee at a private airstrip. Protests shook entire cities. Public outrage demanded justice. Global investigations were opened, forcing government transparency instantly. It became one of the largest political takedowns in American history recorded. But victory carried cost, a heavy one. Quietly, Daniel relocated us temporarily, while heavy security surrounded and monitored every movement. Government offered protection program, new identities, new life, anywhere we wished, safely. For first-time months, I slept without fear, Ava sleeping beside me, holding her stuffed toy, unaware her mother had changed entire world history. Weeks later, world adjusted, shifting into new reality. One quiet morning early, I watched the sunrise across the mountain horizon. Ava climbed into lap, eyes bright green, glowing. "Mom, are bad people gone now forever, Mommy?" I held her close and whispered, "Gentle truth. They're gone, sweetheart, forever, and they won't hurt us ever again now." In that warm moment, I understood something deep. This was not simply a story about running, but one about facing fear, standing strong courageously. When hiding seemed easier, and choosing absolute truth over silence and survival. Not everyone is called to expose global corruption, but everyone someday faces a moment requiring courage, the choice between truth, between fear, between living. And when that moment arrives in their life, I hope they remember this story as proof of what one person can accomplish by refusing to break under pressure. My name is Natalie Reyes. I was never a hero, just someone, a mother who loved her daughter fiercely, always, and that fierce love made me completely fearless. If this story moved you, please subscribe now and tell me where you're watching from today. Because the next story may unfold in your city, workplace, or home.